If you want to see more detailed images, videos, and the full article, check the link in the description. Palestinian rights activist Mahmoud Khalil's triumphant return to Columbia University on Sunday marked a significant turning point in his protracted legal battle. His release from over 100 days of ICE detention in Louisiana, following a federal judge's ruling that his punishment for a civil immigration matter was unconstitutional, culminated in a powerful display of solidarity and defiance. The judge's order for immediate release on bail ended Khalil's ordeal, a period that saw him separated from his heavily pregnant wife, Noor Abdallah, a U.S. citizen, and ultimately missed the birth of his first child, Dean. Arriving back in New York on Saturday, Khalil was greeted by an outpouring of support. Reunited with Abdallah just outside Columbia's gates, he expressed gratitude to his supporters, his legal team, and, significantly, saluted the courage of all students at Columbia and across the nation who had continued to protest. This acknowledgement underscored the widespread student activism that fueled Khalil's case and galvanized public opinion against his detention. However, Khalil's address wasn't simply a celebratory homecoming. It served as a potent platform to renew his commitment to Palestinian freedom and to directly confront Columbia University and the Trump administration. He vehemently criticized what he termed the shameful trustees at Columbia, accusing the university of attempting to expel 15 more students and suspend dozens more for their activism in support of Palestine. He characterized this as an attempt to suppress dissent and silence voices critical of Israeli policies. The university, Khalil stated, would do anything and everything it can to ensure that the words "Free Palestine" are not uttered anywhere near it. But while we are here, free Palestine. The crowd responded with a resounding chant, echoing Khalil's unwavering resolve. He further alleged that the university attempted to prevent the very rally at its gates, accusing the institution of complicity in the violence in Gaza by virtue of its financial support. He emphatically denied the portrayal of himself as a violent individual, instead positioning himself as a human rights defender. Khalil's high-profile case, making him the most prominent student targeted by the Trump administration for speaking out against Israel's actions in Gaza, highlights a larger conflict concerning freedom of speech and political activism on college campuses. The Trump administration's actions against him are viewed by activists as a blatant attempt to curb anti-Semitic speech and threats against Jewish students on campus, a move that Khalil and his supporters argue is a disproportionate response that stifles legitimate criticism. His steadfast determination was evident in his remarks immediately after landing in New Jersey. "If they threatened me with detention, even if they would kill me, I would still speak up for Palestine. I just want to go back and continue the work I was already doing, advocating for Palestinian rights, a speech that should actually be celebrated rather than punished." This unwavering commitment underscores the depth of his conviction and the significance of the principles he champions. Khalil's detention began in early March when plainclothes ICE agents apprehended him in the lobby of his university residence, in front of his heavily pregnant wife. The 30-year-old, who had not been charged with a crime, was subsequently transferred to Jena, Louisiana, where he remained for 104 days. The separation from his wife and the missed birth of his son represent a profound personal cost of his activism. While he was allowed a single, brief visit with his wife and son earlier in June, the experience served as a stark reminder of the human toll exacted by the Trump administration's actions. Upon his conditional release, Khalil was compelled to surrender his passport and green card to ICE officials. His travel is now restricted to a limited number of U.S. states, including New York and Michigan for family visits, court hearings in Louisiana and New Jersey, and lobbying efforts in Washington, D.C. This limitation, though seemingly less severe than detention, nonetheless represents a significant curtailment of his freedom. The reaction to Khalil's release has been diverse. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a Bronx Democrat, while acknowledging his release, emphasized that this is not over, and we will have to continue to support this case. "The persecution based on political speech is wrong, and it is a violation of all of our First Amendment rights, not just Mahmoud's." This sentiment reflects the wider concern that Khalil's case represents a dangerous precedent for freedom of speech in the United States. Conversely, the Trump administration, through Assistant Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, denounced the court's decision, stating that it is yet another example of how out-of-control members of the judicial branch are undermining national security, further claiming that the court's conduct not only denies the result of the 2024 election, it also does great harm to our constitutional system by undermining public confidence in the courts. This statement reflects the administration's assertion that it had the authority to detain and deport Khalil, citing alleged threats to national security and omissions on his green card application regarding his work history and organizational affiliations. These claims remain contested and are central to the ongoing legal battle. The release of Mahmoud Khalil is undeniably a victory for his supporters and for those concerned about the erosion of civil liberties. Yet, his continued legal challenges and the administration's vow to appeal highlight the precarious nature of this victory and the ongoing fight for freedom of speech and the right to advocate for Palestinian rights in the United States. His case serves as a stark reminder of the complex intersection of immigration law, political activism, and the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with profound implications for human rights and the future of free expression. The story of Mahmoud Khalil is far from over. It continues to unfold, representing a powerful and compelling narrative of resistance, resilience, and the ongoing struggle for justice.